Welcome all. I'm Sarah Roeder with Armed Forces Mutual, and today we are going to talk about scams and the fact that military families have more financial loss from scams than non-military families. I'm the Director of Partnership and Member Engagement with Armed Forces Mutual, a nonprofit organization that has been around since 1879, serving and protecting our military families. And today I have Rachel Dooley, who is the director of the Better Business Bureau Military and Veterans Initiative. She will speak about why military families are experiencing financial loss from scams and what military families can do to protect themselves. She is a military spouse herself and leads the development and implementation of the Military and Veterans Initiative. Rachel, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for inviting me and having me for such a special topic to talk about, an important one too. Thank you.
It is. So we're talking about military families, military personnel, and the fact that there are scams out there that are taking their money. And so I want to first talk about how often are military personnel and families subject to scams?
So, when we take a look at our latest BBB Scam Tracker Risk Report from 2024 that came out earlier this year, military consumers made up 9.8% of all reports that came in to us. However, what we did notice is that military members lost more money when it came to those reports.
Wow, that's interesting. So they're losing more money than their non-military counterparts. And
Yes.
so what exactly is the cost associated with those losses?
So, taking a look at it, the median loss for military consumers overall was $165. And when
Mhm.
you compared that to the non military, it was a median loss of $126 overall. So, if we dive in a little bit deeper and we look at our military research report on military consumers that came out in November.
Oh, I think we lost Rachel for a second. We'll give her a minute and see if she doesn't pop back in.
Oh, I do not know what happened.
There you are. No worries. So we were talking about, you never know, right? You go
Yes,
live and you just don't know.
yes.
So we're talking about the cost associated with the losses for those military families. We know it's
Yes.
greater than the civilian or non-military
Mhm.
counterpart, but at what amount?
Yes. So when if I'll just go ahead at it was 165 for
Mhm.
military consumers overall, and for the regular consumer, it's 126. But when we dive into our November.
Oh no. Ah. I think Rachel's having some connectivity issues, which we will hopefully be able to solve and address. If not, we will just reschedule this live. But in the interim, because I do happen to have some of the data here that she provided, the military median loss is actually $1,950, which is compared to the non-military, which is $1,499. So when we're talking about that, that's a lot of loss. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, I really don't know what keeps happening. And thank you. You already caught it. So on the employment side, I heard you. So thank you. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's a huge difference in that employment breakdown between military and non-military consumers.
it really is. I mean, it's a $500 difference. It's $2,000. I mean, that's a lot of money to
Yes.
be taken from scams.
Yes.
So we know that our military families are more susceptible to these scams, and they're at a higher rate of loss. But what is the most common scam against military personnel or families that they're experiencing?
Yeah, of course. So we like to first go ahead and take a and break it down into subgroups. So first we'll look at military spouses, and the number one scam is employment scams. Being a military spouse, we know we're always looking for the right employment that fixes. We move, PCS, always looking.
Oh goodness, that's okay. So some connectivity issues there with Rachel, but I can move forward on some of the data points on this. That military spouses, such as myself, just like Rachel, are very susceptible to employment scams as well as online purchase scams. So the Better Business Bureau says that employment scams, online purchases, and sweepstakes and lottery scams are the most common for our military spouses, which is really unfortunate. When we move to the veteran population, we can see that a lot of times our veterans are getting scams in investments. Crypto scams is what we're talking about. So we are talking about, Rachel, our veterans, and that crypto scams seem to be something that they're getting their money taken from.
Yes, yes. And just so you know, I moved to another browser. I don't have a background, so we'll see what happens now.
Wonderful.
So we'll see. All right.
In
So
true
yeah,
military spouse fashion, we will adapt and overcome and figure it out.
yes. All right. So yes, veterans investment in crypto scams, number one. And we've seen this slowly coming up over the years. And then again, employment scams. We're seeing that with our veterans from transitioning. And
Yeah.
then veterans home improvement scams is still high on the list. And then from our risk report, we didn't have enough active duty service members actually report in 2024, not enough data. So we wanted to go ahead and we looked at our marketplace challenges report that we did in 2024 that went over multiple years. And the number one scam for active duty was investment in cryptocurrency with a medium loss of $3,200 for our active duty service members, which is a large amount of money in these investment in cryptocurrencies with a high susceptibility of 70%, with despite only 3% exposure to these types of scams. So not a lot of exposure, but
Wow.
a high susceptibility to losing money at these scams.
Yeah. And that's interesting, right? Because it's telling us that they aren't getting, these scams aren't coming across everybody's path, but the ones that they are, they're highly susceptible to fall for them. And so, I mean, $3,200 in investments or crypto, right? Everybody's talking about crypto right now. $3,200 is nothing to sneeze at. That is
Yes.
a lot of money to
Hmm.
just be gone from your bank
Yes.
account.
Yes.
I know that when we're talking, a theme that I'm seeing here is about careers and employment. It seems to be something that our transitioning service members are thinking about, of course. Our military spouses are thinking about employment, and they're getting scammed within that. So, what kind of guidance does the BBB have for the military community when you're looking at career and employment opportunities?
Yeah. So, what we first like to tell everyone is, whether it's employment, career advancement, or educational institutions, let's do our research before accepting or apply, accepting that new position, and search the company's educational institutions online. Search them, not just what was given to you. You
Mhm.
do a broader search. We recommend using bbb.org/scam tracker. It's not just a reporting tool. You can also search it for current complaints and reports. So you
Mhm.
can utilize the URL that you were giving for our website, the emails, the names of people that you were given, and put that into Scam Tracker to search if there's any complaints. And also, in your research, talk to people that you know and trust before committing to anything because they may have heard something about that job or something out there about that institution, and really gather all your information. Yes. So that's like the first. And then red flags. That's the big thing is understanding what red flags are when it comes to scam and then to avoid them and go from there. So when it comes to jobs is you should never have to pay for equipment up front
Yeah.
or your job placement. This is a very common tactic that these scammers are using is that you need to pay for all of this equipment or your placement in advance,
Mhm.
and they're going to send you a check to deposit,
Yeah.
and they're going to build this relationship and seem like it's very real, and they're like, oh, well, we're now going to need you to go buy it, but we're going to send you a check
Yeah.
to reimburse you for that. And then they send you the check and you deposit it, and then that check doesn't clear, and then you're
Yeah.
out that
Yeah.
money. Yes. And
I think that's really important because, especially in that remote work environment that's affecting military spouses,
mhm,
they might not have all the monitors and the keyboards and all the headsets and things, and they think, oh, I just
mhm,
have to buy this, and then they'll reimburse me back. You might think,
yes.
okay, that makes sense, but in reality, that's a huge red flag.
Yes.
To know you shouldn't have to pay somebody in order to be an employee of them.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
exactly. It is because that is something when people that we notice is the promise of remote work was the top motivational factor for engaging with these scammers. And when it comes to the money, it's like, I don't have all this equipment, like you just said. So it
Mhm.
seems logical, but it's not. So if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So once you have those, if you're starting to see those, back away
Yeah.
and kind of and do more research before
Yeah,
you keep
and there's
going.
some trusted places that people can go. When we talk about trusted resources and employment,
Yeah.
for Armed Forces Mutual, we have our member benefits team, and they highlight a lot of resources when our transitioning service members or military spouses call and say, here are the trusted ones. So,
Mhm.
what would the BBB say? What are your trusted employment and education websites or locations to go?
Yeah, so when we say trusted, for our military community, there's an array. So I'm just going to list a few here, but you could find a lot out there. Is start with the VA education and training
Yeah.
benefits. It's a great place to start. Military One Source. If you're a spouse, I'm sure you've probably heard of it. SECO, spouse education and career opportunities.
Mhm.
Hiring Our Heroes is a wonderful place to
Mhm.
go for not just employment, but also education, internships, opportunities. These are great places to begin your search, network, make connections, and find these opportunities that are out there for you. And we do realize that not everything is going to be on these sites, but remember to confirm every job posting on the website of the company and organization. They should post it there if it's a real position.
Yeah, you have to do a bit of your own due diligence
Yeah.
when looking at these scams. And so we've pinpointed a couple of things in this conversation that the BBB is highlighting in your marketplace around kind of
Mhm.
these military and veteran initiatives, that the military family is getting scammed at a higher rate, meaning that they are having more money lost
Mhm.
than the non-military. A lot of that has to do with employment or investments in that crypto, things like that. And so it happens, right? We know your data says this is happening. We know it's happening. Hopefully, the information you've been talking about today can protect. But
Mhm.
what happens if you have been scammed? And then what do you do on the other side to say, okay, it happened to me. Maybe that's embarrassing. I can't believe I fell for it. But how do I move forward in a positive way?
Yeah, yeah. So the first thing, there's so many scam types out there, but the first thing is if there was financial loss, contact whatever that financial institution
Mhm.
was immediately, bank, credit card, even a gift card. There's numbers on the back of those. Contact them immediately to let them know. Then let's report the incident to
Mhm.
the same thing. BB Scam Tracker is a great place to report. Report the incident.
Mhm.
The more reports we have, no matter where they're coming from, these reports help us in educating, as just like you were when you were researching. If you report an employment scam and then somebody else goes to research that employer and they find it on the reports, they might not engage with that scammer anymore. So reporting really is one of
Yeah.
the first and next thing you should do. And then another tool that you can utilize is BBB Scam Survival Toolkit. There you can get a personalized plan
Mhm.
after your scam, and it also uses military specific support resources for that scam as well. So you can go there, break down what happened to you, and self-identify as a military member, and get emotional wellness tools, support recovery tools. So that is a great way to kind of break it down after that. And then tell a friend or family so you can get help, but also tell friend or family, community member, so you can inform them of the scam that's going around. And that's,
Yeah.
that's kind of what to
Yeah, we
do.
have to Yeah, we have to kind of take actions into our own hands when something like
Mhm.
that happens. And we will drop into the comment section all of the links that Rachel has commented on about the BBB scam tracker and about the survival toolkit. I myself have looked through kind of that survival toolkit and what people are talking about. And it's really empowering because instead of them feeling like a victim, they say, I'm going to take action. I'm going to help others. I'm going to use my story and I'm going to tell my story. So that others don't fall into this. And that's really something indicative of our military community, right?
Yep.
Is that we tend to band together, help one another. And so this is another way to do that, especially if you've experienced financial loss. One of the kind of final things I want to get your thoughts on is about the 2024 report on the marketplace challenges facing the military community. Can you kind of just tell us a little bit about what that report was? What were some of the key findings behind it, and how we move forward?
Yeah. So one, key finding that we found, and it's really important and kind of brings everything home, is that about 73% of military consumers said they reported their scam to a third party organization like the BBB. However, 20% said they did not report the scam, and another 7% said they weren't sure uh, if they had reported it. Among those that did not report, the top reason was 43% did not know where to report. And then almost 12% felt they were too embarrassed. And some
Mm-hmm.
who did not lose money said they didn't feel like they needed to report the incident. And, so this is kind of my call to action to the military community is one, report all scams, even if you don't lose money, because the more reports and the more we talk about it, and the more we can share that information with everybody and band together as a community. And, and then share your experiences to help warn others. That feeling that you were talking about the embarrassment, it depending on severity levels and everybody's feeling, it can take time, but there is a community out there that will support you and help you. And that's why we have scam stories and the survival toolkit for you. So just know that there is a community out there for you and you do not have to feel embarrassed. So part of this military community that we love is protecting our community, the ones we serve, and the best defense is reporting and knowing that we protect each other by talking and sharing with everybody. Yeah, so that's it. that's what we
Yeah.
that's what we do
And
to
so,
stop scammers.
yeah.
So,
So I think the two big takeaways that the BBB is kind of really taking I'd say, forward motion, moving forward in is the BBB scam tracker. And we've dropped that into the chat. It's an awesome place. You can go into that scam tracker and you can look up if something is a scam. We had a question from somebody in the audience that says, are there specific scams a military spouse should be mindful of when the service member is deployed? I think one of the answers to that, right, would be if you think something's off or you feel like there might be a red flag or someone's asking you for money in order to do something like get a job, would be to go to that scam tracker. It's a great place to go and to check out, am I being scammed, or use some of those resources. So it's fascinating. And part of that report that Rachel was telling us is that 43% of people said they didn't know where to go. And so now you do know where to go. And that's also very important. And then, of course, if it has happened, you have a place where other people can say, hey, this happened to me too. I'm, maybe a little bit embarrassed by it, but you know what, we can move on in a positive way and get our finances in order. Something that, here at Armed Forces Mutual, we are always grounded in our financial education for our service members and for military spouses. And so having these resources on hand to be able to give guidance of, you're looking for a job, here are the places you want to go to do that. Or you think something sounds too good to be true, then you want to check it out here. So knowledge is power, and knowing where the subject matter experts lie to find those resources is really important. And the Better Business Bureau is leading that charge. And we are right behind them, taking up all those resources and making sure we're getting it to the military community. So, Rachel, I want to thank you so much for being here today, for sharing your knowledge in the data in this, and how our military families can, one, protect themselves on the front end, but also, should something happen, be able to get help on the back end as well. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Sarah. I really appreciate it. And thank you. Yes, it's very important to me and my military community to protect and always reach out for anything. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, I'm Sarah Roeder, and that will wrap up our Armed Forces Mutual Live for today. If you would like more information about Armed Forces Mutual and building your financial readiness as a member of the military community, please go to our financial resource page. It's located in the comment section of this live, as well as if you have a phone out, you can QR code that if you're at a desktop or laptop. But otherwise, I want to thank you for joining us today, and I hope you have a wonderful rest